One of my most favorite things about God is how he literally gives us the tools to manifest the will that he has over our life. Before Christ, I had a very skewed perception on relationship, but part of my perception was literally God setting me apart for what he knew that he set me aside to do. As a generational curse breaker, one of the curses that I'm supposed to break, well, that I have broken, is the ideology of getting married out of tradition and just getting married for the sake of love, because we know that marriage is one of God's biggest ministries. Younger me did not want any kids. If I did have kids, it would have to be by my husband, but I also didn't want to be married. In Matthew 22, we see the Pharisee ask Jesus, what's the most important commandment? To which Jesus responds that the first most important commandment is to love God and to love him in our mind, our body, and our soul. But then he proceeds to tell him that the second most important commandment is to love thy neighbor as you would love thyself. Like a lot of people in the world, my ideology of relationship came nothing from the Bible. We have 1,000 podcasts about relationships, but none of them can seem to direct anyone in the right direction regarding relationship. That one verse from Matthew 22 literally is the blueprint. When you love God and you have true, genuine relationship with him, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Literally, you're able to discern better. You're able to understand the true magnitude of Ephesians 6, where it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities. Like, it expands your mind way past what you can see in the natural, which is why God tells us not to lean on our own understanding, because if we lean on our own understanding, we literally miss the majority of what he's trying to show us. On my quest to marriage and to getting to my kingdom spouse, one of the biggest things that I feel like God had me to learn about relationship is without his blueprint, it'll always fail. The reason why he had me not to get married out of tradition, because he knows the calling and the will that he's spoken over my life is way bigger than me just getting married and having kids. What he's getting ready to do in my life and what he is doing in my life literally is going to be a perpetual overflow and a generational blessing. In order to fully understand the magnitude of what I'm vesseling through and what I'm vesseling for, God literally had to get me to truly understand the meaning of relationship so that I could be in such a place as today. That is beautiful to me. The crazy part about all of this is the enemy knows this. He knows that God works through relationships to bring forth blessings. He knows that not too many people know how serious God takes relationships. So of course he infiltrates us through relationships, and I'm going to tell you how. With no discernment, with nothing outside of in the natural, we get with someone, we like them, we spend years with them, we have a child with them, and then boom, my generational curses mesh with your generational curses, and now we have a child that has both generational curses, and it's a possibility that we weren't even supposed to be together. And this is a cycle that is repeated often. So if I can leave you with anything today, it would be test every spirit with Christ. Make sure that the relationships that you are forming are correct relationships, and make sure that the relationships that you are intertwining yourself in, whether friendship, platonic relationships, or relationships of loving someone, that they're sent by God and not sent by the enemy to distract you or delay you. Stop looking at your family members as family members and start looking at them as spirits. Ephesians 6 says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities. And I'm saying that because oftentimes we get so hard up in our feelings about things that our family does or that our family does to us that we feel is wrong, and it may very well be wrong. But when you look at a person as a spirit instead of as a person, as flesh and blood, God will expand your mind to how to show grace to them, and also how to forgive, but how to move and set proper godly boundaries with them. A lot of family hurt comes from the mind